His last text to me was, "Things not improving on oxygen, need to try something different." My reply to him was, "Keep fighting, don't let this virus defeat you. We all love you and need you."
This was the last text Garnan ever received from her husband. Jayesh was lying in a hospital bed, gasping for air. Days later, he was dead.
He was the youngest one in the whole ward.
You're still grieving for that loss now.
Yeah, which will be forever. My father-in-law's lost his son. I've lost my husband. My daughters lost their dad. Every Father's Day, every Mother's Day, every celebration.
I first came to see Garnan and her grieving young daughters, Ria and Kira, during lockdown in July 2020, 3 months after Jayesh's death.
I called the ambulance. And he just went out in his slippers. I didn't know he's never going to come back.
Jayesh caught COVID working as a pharmacist, left exposed to the virus without protection.
Or indeed,
Garnan blames the government and wants the COVID inquiry to uncover the truth.
So, here, this is my dad's heart. You know, it's been here almost 3 years, so it's faded and you can't quite see his name, but that's him.
Lobby's father, Femi, was found dead on the floor of the family's home in April 2020.
There's always the lingering question of, if he were white, would he be here? And it's things like, you know, when trying to diagnose the symptoms of COVID, asking questions like, are your lips blue? That question doesn't apply to people like me and my dad. So, you know, could his life have been saved if we had thought ahead, if there's a forethought and preparedness to consider how are these symptoms going to show in black skin? I want justice and I want change. There are many decisions, many actions that were made in that building across from us in the river now that resulted in all of these hearts we see here before us.
I don't know if it's the public and the participants are having problems, but your sound is not perfect.
Today's online hearing suffered some technical problems, and bereaved families say they're struggling to be heard too. They can only share their stories via an online form. The remit of this public inquiry is to examine the government's pandemic preparedness and to learn lessons for the future. But at its heart must be the tens of thousands of grieving families. But they already feel like they're not being listened to. The loss of a loved one to COVID was felt more acutely today of all days. This grief will only be made more bearable when questions are finally answered. Ashish, Joshi, Sky News in central London.